much time over both of these trials would you say you gave to covering it, watching and being there? Would you guess months? I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it's probably been my life for 2.5 years. I've covered some other big cases, but this one, the lawyering was so intense, with all the motions. There's like new developments every single day, and you could not sleep on this case at all, because if you did, something would pop and you would miss it. So as much as I enjoy the people at the Norfolk County Superior Courthouse, I am certainly happy not to be driving there this morning.
Were you surprised? We were talking about this earlier, both on and off the air in our meeting this morning. Were you surprised by how many people were there for a criminal trial in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts yesterday outside?
It was like a sporting event. When I was in the courthouse, when the verdict was being read, you could hear the cheers loud and clear in the courtroom. And, there were restrictions about, people's behavior outside the courtroom. And, at the end of the case, all that goes out the window, and people just absolutely erupted. It was surreal seeing something like that. And then, as she walked out the front door, that's when it got the loudest.
Yeah.
Ted, when it comes to the jury, being in that courtroom, I just can't imagine being a jury member as it's being read. What was the tone? What were the facial expressions of all of them? Did they all seem like they were on the same page? Because, of course, they gave a verdict, then they didn't give a verdict, and then they finally did.
Yeah, so I got screwed the last week of the trial. I was in the courthouse getting the direct feed, but I was not in the courtroom when the verdict was read. So that was super disappointing to me, because, I covered the case, and there were some, entities that really didn't cover it at all, but put their name in this sort of randomizer list, and they got the spots. So it is what it is, but I mean, that's the first time I've seen Karen Read. I know she shed some tears in one of those documentaries, but that's the first time I think I've seen sort of emotion from her in a courtroom. And there's been a lot of sort of dramatic events since this all began, and she was wiping tears and hugging her attorney. So yeah, the jury, I would imagine they're more than anyone are probably happy to be waking up, not going into the courthouse this morning, because they had a huge responsibility.